Have you ever felt that something inside you are asleep, as if there was a power out, waiting for the right time to wake up? My name is Laert, and this is Gods of Semen, the channel that will break the auto-sabotage cycle and reveal what no one had the courage to tell you. With years of study, disciplined practice, and a deep experience in seminal retention, I discovered something that society wants to keep hidden. Your true power is not out there. It is inside you. If you are tired, without focus, fighting anxiety, attached to distractions, and with that constant feeling of being lost, understand this now. You were not born to live broken. Seminal retention is not abstinence. It is reconnecting with its essence. It is a reconquest journey of energy, respect, purpose, authentic masculinity. A path that transforms your body, reprograms your mind, and lights your soul. Stay with me until the end of this video, because next revelations can redefine your life. And if you feel you are ready to get out of the dough and become a conscious man, subscribe now to the channel and activate the bell. With each new video, you will receive weapons for your evolution. This is not a channel. It is a movement, and it starts with you. Some men begin with retention with the expectation of instant results. Explosive physical strength, automatic charisma, immediate respect. But the reality is different. The benefits of retention do not follow a fixed schedule. And for many, what seems an absence of progress is, in fact, an invisible process of deep transformation. Each body has its own biological time. We are not just talking about genetics, but a set of factors that shape the rhythm of change. Men with high levels of stress, poor sleep nights, and unregulated food will have different answers from those who already cultivate a more aligned lifestyle. Age also weighs. The metabolism of a 20-year-old is not the same as a man with 40. And hormones, who are the chemical foundation of retention, react to these factors. Testosterone, for example, needs a stable internal environment to flourish. When there is excess cortisol, stress hormone, the benefits of retention are damned, such as a spring blocked by invisible stones. But there is a more common mistake than you might think: to practice with purpose without purpose. The man who only abstains, but does not direct this energy, creates a field of internal tension that does not generate fruits. Retention is not about keeping, it is about transforming. And this transformation only occurs when there are concrete goals. Raising more weight in the gym, focusing on work, firmly crossing a fast, finishing a book that changes its mindset. Each disciplined action is a catalyst. Retention reveals itself in doing, not waiting. That's why so many give up, because they expect something to change on the outside without changing anything inside. Even so, the signs appear, but subtly. Many ignore the first symptoms because they are obsessed with visual transformations. The sharp mental focus, for example, is one of the first signs, but goes unnoticed if you are distracted with the mirror. Vivid and intense dreams begin to emerge, signaling that his mind is reorganizing, cleaning emotional waste, and preparing a new state of consciousness. And there is an almost mystical phenomenon: the silent respect you begin to attract. People look at you differently. Men listen to you more carefully. Women watch you curiously. Nothing has been said, nothing was done, but his presence began to vibrate at another frequency. Retention does not act like lightning, but as a dawn, it comes slowly in layers. And if you don't know how to recognize dawn, you will keep thinking you are in the dark. If the benefits of retention do not follow a fixed pattern, there are, on the other hand, catalysts that can accelerate the process. These factors are not magical, but ignition keys. When applied with consciousness, they make the same retention time generate results that, for others, would only come after months. The first of these factors is the transmutation of sexual energy. The accumulated energy cannot be stagnant. When you retain, but do not overflow in action, the body interprets as stagnation and goes into internal conflict. Therefore, transmutation is vital. It's not just about holding back the instinct, it's about channeling it. A man who directs this force to physical training, for example, experiences an almost supernatural increase in resistance, focus, and controlled aggressiveness. When it uses for work, it discovers rare mental clarity and an implementation that separates it from the others. Projects that once seemed difficult become inevitable. What was once desire once becomes fulfillment. Sexual energy is the raw material of creation, and when you decide to create instead of consuming, everything around it begins to transform. The second factor is the environment. Few realize how much. Where they live can accelerate or sabotage retention. It's like trying to light a fire under the rain. Direct pornography is already known as retention enemy, but there is something even more dangerous: indirect pornography. Profiles that explore sensuality on Instagram, videos that cause subtle costumes, even conversations that keep the mind in constant sexual stimulus sabotage the process. The brain does not differentiate what is real from what is imagined. It releases the same neurotransmitters, wears the same neural pathways, and that drains your energy. Similarly, negative people, constant mockery, environments where masculinity is ridiculed or trivialized create internal fissures that pull you back to the old self. Therefore, changing the environment is not luxury. It is a survival strategy. The third and last factor is the biological base: food and sleep. These two elements act as hormonal amplifiers. Testosterone, dopamine, and serotonin are not abstract concepts. They are real substances that need raw materials to be produced. Sleeping barely reduces natural testosterone production by up to 30%. That is, all its retention is annulled by a sleepless dawn. Similarly, an inflammatory diet, full of sugar, bad oils, and excessive carbohydrates, floods the toxin body and impairs hormonal balance. But when the body is nourished, clean, and well rested, he understands that he can invest in that energy being retained. The brain interprets, "We are ready." And when the body is ready, the effects appear hard. These three factors, transmutation, environment, and hormonal base, function like terrain, climate, and seed. Alone, they may seem small, but together they accelerate the harvest. And the man who understands this stops waiting and begins to build. If you seek to awaken your true essence and break free from the invisible strings that limit your energy, the book Alchemy of the Gods is your key to access to sacred knowledge about Kundalini, crystalline oil, and spiritual liberation. A deep and transformative work available in physical, digital, and audiobook, so you have access where and when you want. In the description link and the fixed comment, you guarantee your copy and start your self-control journey. But first of all, I have a novelty that you didn't expect. Audiobook Semen Retention Success Path, with more than 2 hours of content about the 6 essential pillars of seminal retention, is the definitive guide to unlock your life energy, restore focus, and gain lasting growth. By purchasing it, you still get 30% off the ebook, The Art of Semen Retention for Men, with 20 pages of advanced techniques for emotional balance and spiritual evolution. And if you want to have early access to the most striking channel content, priority answers, and participate in exclusive backstage, become a member. Now your presence strengthens this mission and keeps the male transformation movement alive. There is a point on the journey where the invisible begins to become noticeable. What was once just internal, subtle, and subjective sensation begins to echo in the body, face, voice, and above all, in the way the world responds to its presence. These are the first visible signs of retention. Small details that do not ask for attention, but conquer it. It all starts with the look. There is a change in the way you view the world, and in the way the world views you back. The firm look is not born of the ego, but from the absence of guilt. When you are clean, you support your eye contact naturally. There is no shame, no escape, no hesitation. And this simple gesture, looking in the eyes and staying there, creates a magnetic aura. people feel it. It's like something to you are silent but saying a lot. Men perceive and feel challenged. Women perceive and feel attracted. This magnetism is not aggressive, it is serene, and precisely for this reason, impacts. A clean look conveys power, because it reveals a man alone with his instincts, not dominated by them. After the look comes subtle changes in the body and face. Reports on the most defined jaw, cleaner and lush skin, more severe and centered voice are not myths, are biochemical reflexes of a balanced body. Retention influences the hormonal system, and the hormonal system directly affects physical traits. The musculature looks more dense even without weight gain. The face gets stricter contours. The skin improves because inflammatory processes reduce. Even the voice goes down from tom, because the larynx responds to the hormonal environment with greater depth and firmness. These are not radical changes, but they are noticeable, and most importantly, they are consistent with the new posture you emanate. But what surprises most is not what you see in the mirror. This is what you begin to realize in the reactions of others. Women react subtly, almost imperceptible for those who are distracted. The time of looking, the way of smiling, the way they approach or remain in the same environment. Everything changes. It is as if something recognized the presence of an undisputed force, something that cannot be explained, but attracts. Men, on the other hand, look at you more seriously. There are fewer disrespectful games, less interruptions, more listening. You start to inspire something that is not taught, automatic respect. Not because you impose it, but because you are. This silent influence does not come from appearance. It comes from vibration. These visible signs are not the apex. They are just the surface of what is being built inside. But they serve as a compass. They show that the path is right. And more than that, they reveal that the body has already begun to obey the spirit. When this happens, it's no longer trying to look strong. It's your own life by saying, you're becoming. Not all who practice retention reap the fruits. Some remain in the same place for weeks, months, sometimes years, without realizing any real transformation. And that doesn't happen for lack of time, but for lack of truth. Retention alone has no power. What gives power to retention is sacrifice. Without him, everything becomes vanity disguised as discipline. There are men who boast of the number of days they are without ejaculating, as if, in isolation, make them higher. But they are still lazy, annoyed, disorganized. They keep the semen, but waste the energy. They are like someone who hides gold under the bed, but keeps living as miserable. Retention without real sacrifice, without cutting addictions, without changing habits, without facing the internal shadows. It's just another mask. And masks do not support growth. What transforms man is not time into abstinence, but what he is able to endure, to refuse, to renounce at that time. It is the price paid in the invisible that determines the value of the visible fruits. One of the greatest silent enemies of retention is mental masturbation. Even without ejaculating, the man who feeds constant fantasies, who lives in cycles of erotic imagination, is self-assessing. The brain does not differentiate between reality and imagination. It reacts to both in the same way. When you fantasize, it releases dopamine, activates reward neural circuits, and this consumes energy. The excitement without transmutation becomes accumulated tension, and this tension begins to erode your discipline. You feel restless, lose focus, sleep badly, and end up believing that retention does not work. But the problem is not in semen, it is in mind. A dirty mind, even with an abstinence body, continues to drain the spirit. And then comes the most destructive cycle, the lack of consistency. Many fall into this standard of interspersed retention with silent relapses. They follow for a few days, then give in, but they don't tell anyone. They pretend to themselves that are on the way when they are actually stopped. This internal inconsistency generates a specific type of frustration, the one that erodes self-esteem from the inside out. Because deep down you know it's lying to you. You know you are masking weakness with motivational phrases. And this self-ending is the biggest poison in the journey. You can deceive others with words, but your energy never lies. Those who never see the benefits of retention are those who did not understand that this is not a day count challenge. It is a call to a new lifestyle, a daily ritual of internal confrontation. And while this call is not answered with sincerity, the body will resist, the mind will sabotage, and the spirit will remain asleep. There is a point where all external searches lose their meaning. When man understands that the greatest signs of retention do not appear in the mirror, but in the vibration he emits. Retention in its highest state is not a physical strategy. It is a spiritual language. A language that the gods understand not by words, but frequency. The gods do not react to their appearance, the number of days you retained, or the muscles you have built. They respond to their vibration. And this vibration does not change by chance. It changes when you start living in coherence. When your conduct is aligned with what you believe, when you stop negotiating with your addictions, when your eyes no longer seek approval, but emanate purpose. It is at this point that the invisible begins to recognize you, not because you are perfect, but because you are present, vibrating loudly, even in silence. When you change inside, the world begins to obey. It is as if the situations were achieved, the right people approached, the doors opened. Not by luck, but by tune. Retention, when done with purpose and integrity, thin your soul with a higher frequency. And this tuning transforms reality. Stoic philosophy said that man does not control events, but can control his reactions. Spirituality understands that by controlling your reactions, you transform your own events. What was once an obstacle becomes a sign. What was once pain becomes discipline. And reality, once hostile, begins to respect its presence. The true appearance of a man is not in the marked jaw or in the upright posture. It is in coherence between your silence and your actions. It is in the serenity with which it faces its own demons. It is in the calm glow of who knows that you no longer need to prove anything. Because the true sign is not visible. It is not in the number of looks you attract, nor in the reactions it causes. It is in the invisible strength that begins to guide your life. And this force is born only when you stop trying to look strong and decide once and for all. Will you continue living on autopilot, draining your energy without even realizing it? Or will you take control of your mind, body, and destination? The truth is simple. As long as you procrastinate, your life force is lost. The change you expect from the world starts in you, but it only happens when you decide to act. If this video talked to something inside you, then you know what to do. Leaves like, subscribes to the channel, and now watch the next recommended video. Your transformation starts in the next step.